Sedona Safety Orientation. Mission: the Sedona Safety Program promotes an environment which encourages every member of Sedona to adopt a culture that embraces safety as a value, cascades a sense of personal accountability through education, training, and awareness, thereby reducing risk to lives and property. Sedona incorporates the Department of Labor's Occupational Safety and Health Administration, or OSHA, and other nationally recognized safety programs to promote safe and healthy practices in both personal and professional activities. Goal: the main goal of safety and health programs is to prevent workplace injuries, illnesses, and deaths, as well as the suffering and financial hardship these events can cause for workers, their families, and employers. Safety and health programs help prevent workplace injuries and illnesses, improve compliance with laws and regulations, reduce costs, engage workers, enhance their social responsibility goals, increase productivity, and enhance overall business operations. Safety policy: this safety orientation applies to every employee working for Sedona. The safety and health of our employees is the first consideration in the operation of our business. No employee is required to work at a job he or she knows is not safe or healthful. The prevention of injuries and illnesses is of such consequence that it will be given precedence over operating productivity whenever necessary. The objective is a safety and health program that will reduce the number of injuries and illnesses to an absolute minimum. Our goal is always zero accidents and injuries. Employees who violate established safety policies or rules will be subject to disciplinary action. Where applicable, employees will be retrained to ensure proper understanding of the safety procedures. Report safety incidents as soon as they happen. Workers' compensation fraud. If someone is convicted of workers' compensation fraud, they can be liable for 3 times the value of the benefits or insurance wrongfully obtained, or twice the value of the benefits or insurance attempted to be obtained, plus reasonable attorney's fees and expenses. If you have information or evidence relating to fraud, please contact your Sedona representative today. Prohibited activities. Employees may only perform work that they were assigned to do at a customer location. Do not perform work that you have not been assigned to do or trained to do. Contact your Sedona representative if this cannot be resolved while at a customer location. Never perform any work that is obviously dangerous or unsafe. General safety rules for all employees. Never operate any machine or equipment unless you are authorized and trained to do so. Do not operate defective equipment. Do not use broken hand tools. Report them to your manager immediately. Obtain full instructions before operating a machine with which you are not familiar. Never start on any hazardous job without being completely familiar with the safety procedures that apply to it. Wear all protective garments and equipment necessary to be safe on the job. Keep your work area, machinery, and all client facilities that you use clean and neat. Do not participate in horseplay, tease, or otherwise distract fellow workers. Never take chances. Ask for help. If you are unsure, you are unsafe. Never walk behind forklifts or tugger cars. Always stay within the safe walkways. Stop and look when coming to travel intersections. Make eye contact with vehicles prior to crossing an intersection. Use designated passage doors when entering or exiting buildings. Never walk through an overhead door. Do not enter a restricted area with a safety fence, light curtain, or lockout tagout. Report all accidents and any size liquid spill immediately. Accident and incident reporting. All accidents, whether minor or major, must be reported to your supervisor immediately, but no later than the end of their shift. If you are not sure if it is considered an incident, report it. Any employee involved in any type of accident must take a drug screen. If an employee is injured on the job, the employee may be covered by workers' compensation benefits. Incidents may include injuries and illness that start and happen at work, modified or light-duty work. Sedona will make every effort to return employees to employment following illness or injury and provide reasonable accommodations based on essential job functions. A program of light duty or modified duty will be made available where possible in order to allow employees to return to work. The Human Resources Department and supervisor will work together with the employee and the employee's doctor to determine appropriate accommodations in order to return the employee to work at the earliest date possible. Substance abuse, drug-free workplace. Sedona is committed at all levels to providing a safe workplace for our employees. The use of alcohol and drugs on the job negatively affects the productivity, the safety, and the stability of the workplace. Employees are expected and required to report to work on time and in appropriate mental and physical condition for work. It is our intent and obligation to provide a drug-free, healthful, safe, and secure work environment. Sedona prohibits on-the-job use of illegal drugs or alcohol, coming to work under the influence, and possessing or distributing drugs on client facilities. Violations of this policy will result in disciplinary action up to and including discharge. Employees are encouraged to seek assistance from community resources on a voluntary basis for substance abuse-related problems. All employees that experience a work-related injury will be asked to have a post-incident drug and/or alcohol test conducted. Failure to comply will result in termination. Harassment and violence in the workplace. Sedona is committed to ensuring all employees or managers are aware of all actual and/or potential health and safety hazards associated with their area of responsibility, provide the necessary health and safety information to all employees about actual and/or potential hazards, and have knowledge of all appropriate health and safety written instructions. It is expected that managers will play an exemplary role in promoting a workplace which is free from harassment and violence. Every employee at Sedona should be able to work without fear of violence and harassment in a safe and healthy workplace. Sedona will not tolerate any form of violence, harassment, or abuse in any workplace against or by any employees, directors, managers, supervisors, contractors, suppliers, clients, visitors, or others. Employees are expected to be mindful of actions or words which are, or may be construed as being offensive or discriminatory in nature. These include, but are not limited to, ethnic, racial, religious, and sexual slurs and jokes, remarks which may humiliate or offend persons with disabilities, and unsolicited and unwelcome gestures or physical contacts of a sexual nature. Although every effort will be made to resolve any incidents involving complaints of harassment or violence, Sedona will not tolerate such behavior on the part of its managers, employees, or client companies. Any employee found to be engaging in such behavior will be disciplined accordingly. Disciplinary action may include a range of measures, up to and including dismissal. If a client of Sedona fails to take the appropriate action to prevent or correct the harassment or violence of a Sedona employee, Sedona will intervene on behalf of the employee. If such intervention is not successful in stopping the harassment, Sedona may terminate the assignment with the client. Lifting requirements and push carts. Maximum container weight one person may lift is 50 pounds. Containers exceeding 50 pounds require a team lift. Never lift more than one container at a time. Team lift unusual or bulky size containers. All carts must be pushed, never pulled. Containers should not be stacked over the eyesight of the person pushing the cart. Do not twist the body when lifting or carrying a container. Use your feet to turn. One team, one lift. Signs and barricades. Danger signs are used only where an immediate hazard exists. Caution and warning signs are used to warn against potential hazards or to caution against unsafe practices. Safety instruction signs are used to identify the location of safety equipment or as reminders of safe procedures. Notice signs are used where information of a critical nature must be communicated. However, there may be no potential for injury or harm. Fire safety and prevention. Fire extinguishers must be available whenever working with flammable or combustible liquids or any tasks where open flames or sparks are present. Never block a fire extinguisher. Never hang or attach anything to a fire sprinkler system pipe or sprinkler head. Smoking is not permitted where flammable or combustible materials are used or stored. Smoke only in designated areas. In the event a fire breaks out, Immediately follow the emergency action procedures. Do not compromise your safety. If you can, assist anyone in danger. Again, do not compromise your own safety. If possible, turn off sources of fuel. Close doors to prevent smoke or fire from spreading. Housekeeping. Good housekeeping is a necessary requirement for maintaining safety at job sites. It is proven that clean and tidy work sites hold fewer hazards for all workers. Accidents and injuries are avoided and productivity improved where good housekeeping is practiced daily. HAZCOM and HCS. HAZCOM stands for Hazard Communication. HCS is the Hazard Communication Standard, which is an OSHA standard with a goal to ensure employers and workers know about chemical hazards and how to protect themselves. What chemicals are in the areas you will be working in? What are the hazards of those chemicals? How to protect yourself from those hazards. Chemical manufacturers and importers must develop a safety data sheet, or SDS, for each hazardous chemical they produce or import. An SDS sheet must be kept for each chemical at the job site. This information is available to you. Simply ask your supervisor. SDS sheets contain valuable information about the hazards of chemicals and how to protect yourself. SDSs are available to all workers at the following locations. Warehouse employees can find a binder located in the warehouse. Project offices will have an SDS binder. Job boxes will also have a copy of the SDS binder. Employees may have access to SDSs via the project location website. OSHA has updated the requirements for labeling of hazardous chemicals under its Hazardous Communication Standard, or HCS. All labels are required to have pictograms, a signal word, hazard, and precautionary statements, the product identifier, and supplier identification. A sample revised HCS label identifying the required label elements is shown on the right. Personal Protective Equipment, or PPE. Workers are expected to maintain an appropriate appearance that is neat and clean as determined by the requirements of the work area. Clothing and appearance should not be offensive to the public, customers, and/or other workers. Depending on your work, you may be required to wear personal protective equipment. Workers must wear protective helmets or hard hats when working in areas where there is a potential for head injury. Sedona has identified the following types of work requiring the use of hard hats or bump hats. Client requests. You are required to wear safety glasses when performing tasks where there is a potential for eye injury. Examples include machining, industrial setting, product manufacturing. Where there is a potential for injury to the hands from sharp edges, rough objects, or electrical shock, workers are required to wear gloves. Check with your supervisor to determine the appropriate type of glove for the work you will be performing. Never wear gloves when handling tools that spin or whirl. Be aware of exposed metal and laceration potential. Do not handle metal without proper PPE. Inspect gloves daily for wear and damage. Employees are required to wear steel-toed work shoes or boots during work hours. Shoes must be cleaned. Shoes must be properly tied. Fall protection. Fall hazards may be found in a variety of situations during work at Sedona project locations. Work performed at ground level may expose you to trip hazards. Work on top of shelters, equipment, or work from ladders may expose you to falls of several feet. Types of fall protection systems may include guardrail systems, safety nets, personal fall arrest systems, or PFAS. Federal regulations require workers to receive specific training based on the type of fall hazards they may be exposed to during the course of their work. Speak with your supervisor to find out more about additional fall protection training. Tool safety. Hazards are usually caused by misuse and improper maintenance. Do not use any damaged, defective, or modified tool. Wrenches when jaws are sprung. Impact tools such as chisels or wedges when heads have been mushroomed. Tools with loose, cracked, or splintered handles. A screwdriver as a chisel. Tools with taped handles. They may be hiding cracks. Inspect tool before use. Cut-resistant gloves should be worn when working with cutting tools. Use caution when working with your hands and a sharp cutting tool. Make sure that cutting tools are sharp and in good condition. Never attempt to clean the blade, replace it. Always use the correct tool for the task. Work on a stable surface and do not apply too much pressure on the blade. When using a utility knife, always cut away from your hands and body. Ensure the blade fully retracts after each use. Electrical safety. Remember, when electrical tools are working properly, a complete circuit is maintained between the tool and their energy source. If a tool is damaged, the person may come in contact with the electricity and can become a path for the current. The person will be shocked. The ground pin is there to help protect the worker from electrical shock. Never remove the ground pin. Never use tools or extension cords where the ground pin is damaged or missing. The outer insulation on electrical cords must be intact. Never use extension cords or power tools with damaged cords. Energized electrical parts must be covered or guarded. Never approach or work near exposed electrical parts. GFCIs. Sedona clients use ground fault circulation interrupters, or GFCI, as the primary means of protection for employees from electrical or ground fault hazards. GFCIs will be used on all extension cords and portable tools. GFCIs will be installed at the outlet before inserting the tool or extension cord. All employees using GFCIs must test them prior to use. Faulty GFCIs must be turned into the supervisor for replacement. Lockout tagout. Lockout tagout refers to specific practices and procedures to safeguard employees from the unexpected energization or startup of machinery and equipment, or the release of hazardous energy during service or maintenance activities. Energy sources including electrical, mechanical, hydraulic, pneumatic, chemical, thermal, or other sources in machines and equipment can be hazardous to workers. During the servicing and maintenance of machines and equipment, the unexpected startup or release of stored energy can result in serious injury or death to workers. If working with electrical parts, the power must be turned off and secured. Additional training must be received before personnel are authorized to work on or near electrical equipment. You must be trained as an authorized employee if you're required to perform work on or near equipment or machines. Authorized employees receive training to know how to properly shut off, lock out, and tag hazardous energy sources. Universal precautions. Universal precautions will be observed and enforced at Sedona to prevent contact with blood or other potentially infectious materials, or OPIM. All blood will be considered infectious regardless of the perceived status of the source individual. Under circumstances in which differentiation between body fluids is difficult or impossible, all body fluids shall be considered infectious materials. No personnel shall attempt to clean up any infectious materials without proper training and protective equipment.